Welcome into our In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. And I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's director of Simulcasting. We're going to take a look at some stakes races around the country, but we'll start right here at Keeneland with always one of my favorite races of the year, the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup for 3-year-old fillies on the turf course. Always attracts a really good field, and that's the same this year. Where did you go in the QE2?
I went a lot of ways in the QE2. I really like a lot of horses here. There's a lot of angles. Aidan O'Brien brought Say over last week to run in the First Lady, and she didn't run a step, but he was expecting her not to run a step because he told Donna Brothers right before the race that it was a prep for this race. And he did the same thing a couple years ago, and you got to give Say a shot coming back with a week's rest. But I wound up on Alterite. I took a look at the comments that Chad Brown made. He's going really well right now, and it said the horse just came out of the Garden City just wonderfully, and won first time out over here after coming over from France. And they've done very well with those horses. Martin Schwartz ships those horses over here, and they do very well. So I'm going to take Alterite, the favorite, but I'm going to use Say behind her. I'm going to use She's Already Sexy. There's a real good local angle with a lot of the owners own She's Already Sexy, including Fred Seitz's daughter and son-in-law, and it adds to the appeal of the story. It's a big step up for her, but she did run great at Arlington. Never Shortchange Kenny Ramsey, Emotional Kitten, and Kitten's Dumplings both have a shot. And the other horse that I looked in here was a horse that had a little bit of trouble in the Garden City, and that's Concise for Grand Motion. You can never toss him. So obviously, I am not singling anybody in the QE2 in the late pick 4. I didn't do a late pick 4 because I couldn't come up with a single, but I would go deep in this race because I think Alterite's 9-5. I don't know that I would take 9-5 on her as the favorite.
I ended up going to Kitten's Dumplings. The 1 mile and an eighth race that she had, I think a 95 buyer would be good enough to win this. So I like that. She was stuck down on the rail the last time out at Del Mar and never could really get loose to run until late. And now they put Julien Leparoux on her, and I think he rides this turf course exceptionally well. So I think that's a great fit for a finisher like Kitten's Dumplings. So I'm going to try to beat Alterite with Kitten's Dumplings. And then I'll use Kitten's Dumplings in exacta boxes with Alterite, with I'm Already Sexy, and with Emotional Kitten. And I think this is a really interesting race. I did do a late pick 4, and the maiden race that starts it out in the 7th could not narrow that down, so I used 6 horses, the 1, 3, 5, 8, 9, and 10. Then I used 5, 7, 8 in the 8th, and then in the feature, it's just Kitten's Dumplings and Alterite for me, and then using 9 and 10 in the last leg. Belmont has 2 stakes on their Saturday card. The Grade 3 Knickerbocker is the first one at 1 mile and an eighth on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. It's the 7th race on the card, and if it doesn't rain, I like Tetradrachm. I think he likes firm ground much more so, and his last time he got on it, he ran a race that would be good enough to win this. If they get rain and it comes up soft, even if he may scratch, but if he doesn't, I'd go Boisterous. So Tetradrachm if it's dry, Boisterous if it's wet. And if it's dry, Tetradrachm I would use with Boisterous, with Za Approval, and with Swift Warrior. But I really like Tetradrachm if he can get a dry turf course. What about you?
Yeah, he really hated the soft turf at Saratoga last time, and I agree with you. I think he's a good choice, but if it rains, and they've got a real good shot at rain at Belmont this weekend. They got kind of they're even calling it a chance of a nor'easter. So take a look at the weather before you put your money down on Belmont. The one that I like here, I went a little bit different. I'm taking Za Approval. The last 2 times out, tackled Wise Dan, and obviously, and there's no Wise Dan or obviously in this spot. Even though both of them got beat last weekend, they're still top turf horses. Rosario comes back after a long break, and he takes this horse. The question mark is the distance. He stretches out from 1 mile, but he might be the controlling speed. And I like those 2, Za Approval and Tetradrachm. I'm going to try to beat Boisterous. I like Boisterous. I picked him last time out, but he's been beaten the last 2, and he never threatened Hyper in the Bowling Green, and Hyper is not that classy a horse. I don't think he's as good as either one of these that I picked. The other one, Paris Vegas, is really good right now, but Thomas Voss has had a terrible year. He's only 6% now, so Paris Vegas is the one I would give a shot to get up in the money, but I would play him under second and third.
Let's go to the 9th race, the Athenia, grade 3, for fillies and mares 3 and up on the turf at 1 mile and a 16th. And where did you land in this spot?
I am hoping that Samitar is my choice here, and I would single him in any pick 3s or pick 4s because I think it sets up perfectly for him. Pianist and Alterite should compromise each other on the lead. I don't think either one of them can get an easy lead, and I think that sets it up for Castellano just to track. You got Chad Brown, Castellano, Samitar's 2 for 2 at Belmont. To me, this is a rather easy race to handicap. Of course, that's the ones I usually miss. I think Athenia closes for a share out of the clouds, too. So I think Pianist and or Alterite fade in the end. Samitar goes on, and Athenia gets up for second or third.
I'm going Abaco. Can run on soft ground, likes Belmont, and last was a lifetime best. So hoping she can improve off that, and I'd use her with Samitar and Ruthenia. And we're also going to take a look at one more race, and it's an ungraded stake, but usually ends up a pretty good betting race, and I think that's true again this year. It's at Hawthorne, the 8th race, Robert Carey Memorial on the turf at 1 mile and an 1/8 for 3-year-olds and up. How'd you see this one?
I took Warbird. I think I love Warfront horses, and had a wide trip in the race at Arlington Park behind Pizza Man and Mr. Vegas. I think that he can turn the tables with a good trip. Catalano was very hot at Kentucky Downs, 10 for 15 down there. He's been a little cool at Keeneland, but Arlington and Hawthorne are his home tracks. So I think Catalano has Warbird ready to win this one. I take Mr. Vegas, Pizza Man, and Mr. Mardi Gras behind. Mr. Mardi Gras kind of has the class of the race, owns a win on the Hawthorne turf, which is good. Not much to separate the Pizza Man and Mr. Vegas. They finished right together last time out, but I'm going to take Warbird on top.
I ended up going to Burn the Mortgage. It's a class jump, but that 94 buyer last time was a real wake-up, and if he could run back to that, I think he's got a big shot in here. I didn't have a strong opinion on this race. I wanted to try to find a little bit of a price, and I think this horse could be that. So Burn the Mortgage for me, and then I'll use him with the Pizza Man, Mr. Vegas, Mr. Mardi Gras, and Warbird. So hopefully find a little bit of a price there in the Robert Carey Memorial. Best of luck to everybody on your wagers this weekend, and we'll have one more podcast for this week when we take a look at the feature for Sunday's card here on the In the Money podcast at KeenelandSelect.com.